This is the Uptick Newswire Stock Day Podcast, sponsored by InvestorsHangout.com. Subscribe to us on iTunes, Google Play, and YouTube to stay up to date on penny stock news and interviews, public information on OTC, pink sheets, and microcap stocks from around the world, with your host, Everett Jolly.
On today's show, we have a returning guest, and I'm excited to have him back here. We're going to find out what's going on with this company. It's IMinerals. They trade on the OTCQB, ticker symbol IMAHF. And with us today is the CEO of that company, Tom Conway. Tom, welcome back to the show.
Well, thanks for having me.
You know, we've gotten a lot of new listeners since the last time that you've been on the show, and I believe that was back in July. So give my new listeners a little bit of update of who you guys are and what makes you guys so special.
Well, iMinerals is kind of a diversified industrial mineral play, and so we've got basically four minerals. There's quartz, there's case bar, there's a kaolin clay that can be turned into metakaolin, and then there's something that's world-class unique, which is halloysite, which is a naturally occurring clay nanotube. And so these products go all the way from very basic things like tile and cement, all the way up to kind of pharmaceutical and cosmetic type applications. And so this property is kind of unique that we have a world-class and world unique halloysite. The metakaolin is the only deposit really up in the northwest U.S. The case bar coming out again is world-class, very high grade, and then the quartz is a very high grade and one of the best ones up in the northwest U.S. And so we're able to penetrate quite a wide variety of markets, particularly in lots of industrial and home building applications, things of that nature.
I wanted you to come on the show because I know there was about two things you really wanted to talk about, and about especially have you done the full commercial scale of Metaclon? So maybe if you could give us a little bit of update of what you guys have been doing behind the curtains there. I know you guys started your first drilling a little while ago, and I don't know if you got any essays back on that, or if you could just bring us up to speed.
Yeah, we're in a very advanced stage, and we have our 43-101 done. We're fully permitted. I mean, we're trying to right now raise funding to actually build it and run. So it's at quite an advanced stage. But one of the unique things about industrial minerals, of course, these are not elements. And so you can't just do a standard assay and then say, yeah, it meets specification. Each customer kind of has their own specifications on things. So it's not just the grade. And so to kind of give you an example on the quartz, they're looking for the SiO2 content, but they also want low iron. They also want sizing. You can't be too fine or it kind of blows out of their furnaces, and it can't be too coarse or it streaks glass. And then you've got like a viscosity component if you're pulling an LED wiring or something, glass. It's got to be the right viscosity. And so, in order to prove that you have viable products, each customer is going to set kind of their own demands. And so for something like quartz, you can start off sending them 10 or 100 grams for chemistry, and then they want 50 kilograms, to do like a viscosity test. And ultimately, you got to send them, 20 or 30 carloads, 2,000 to 3,000 tons, so they can kind of do a full test. And of course, if you're not in production, that's really hard to do for them to really ascertain and test it. But like the metakaolin, that does pass and then meet ASTM standards for cement. And so we've done a lot of pilot work, but now we've actually gone to FLS Smith, and they actually have a calciner, which is about the same size that we're going to use in the plant. So we've done a full production scale test. We've got now many tons of that, which we send out to the customers. They can do their own tests. And of course, that just firms up exactly what you have. And the same is true now for halloysite. Now we've gone out and taken another large bulk sample. We've done about 5 big bulk samples so far. But that material is being processed and shipped to Germany. And we have several press releases out about our material being used for diabetic wound care. And well, the company that's doing that is going to do a full commercial test here early in the new year. So this product will be going out on a commercial basis. So this is being funded by the German government, and we understand that this company has also got funding now from the EU on this. So we take this as quite exciting. And so what we'll be able to do is show commercial production and applications for 2 of the minerals. And then that should help, I think, with the financial committee and also with our shareholders to show, hey, look, this is not just something that we're saying in the 43-101, but indeed we've actually achieved several important milestones on commercial production. Here's why this stuff is good. For the quartz and case bar, sadly, of course, they're going to have to go to carloads of material, and so we won't be able to demonstrate that until we're up and running. But again, we've got really, really good products. The people that have tested them I think, are quite convinced that we'll be able to meet their specification and deliver the products that they want.
What are the different applications that are used for these two materials, if you will? Is there a big market for it?
Yeah, the metakaolin primarily goes into cement, and it's a pozzolan for cement. We've published some results, and then basically we're producing a cement that's 30 to 50% stronger than kind of conventional cements, and so it's used for like bridge deck applications and runways, things like that. And to kind of give you an example, some of the DOTs out here in the West, Utah, Colorado, Wyoming, stuff really want this because it cuts down maintenance on their bridge decks. So I live in Salt Lake, and we just had our first big snow yesterday, and they spray mag chloride on the bridges, and of course that eats the bridge decks. And so if you can offset maintenance, obviously that's well worth putting that in.
Absolutely.
And then the hoistite is kind of our wonder product in that it has applications anywhere from ceramics up through pharmaceuticals, and so the testing being done is in the pharmaceutical space. And of course that has very, very high applications in terms of how much money you can get for the product. And our feasibility, we have about $1,000 a ton. But we've been quoted upwards of $20,000 a ton. And indeed, the stuff works really well for diabetic wound care. And of course, there's a lot of incidence of diabetes in the world now, and quite a lot of wound care. There's leg sores and things, and this helps that heal. And of course, you can weave it into cloth. You can put different pharmaceuticals or chemical reagents in it to help with this. And so, again, this has really good implications for the future for our finance. We did put out a press release here where we did do some additional test work here back a few months ago, where we actually changed the way we separate the clay from the sand material. And we were able to recover much more clay, which used to go out to waste. Well, all that stuff is product. And so, again, that goes into the metakaolin or the hoistite, so that means we can make more of this at no extra cost. And this also cuts down the capital for the plant. And so, once we get into the detailed engineering, we'll be able to come out and I think reissue our 43101 and show the effect of this. There's about a third more clay coming out. Of course, that goes right to the bottom line. That's all, goes to revenue. And I think by going through these commercial productions and applications of these two minerals, you'll be able to demonstrate from the customer too, hey, we're willing to pay more for this. And again, that'll improve the project economics quite a bit.
Yeah, I saw that where you guys are gaining 30% instead of 22%. That brings me up to my next question. How about the Denver mine, the final results? You guys started drilling there about a month ago?
Well, we haven't done any additional drilling. I mean, we've got a full SEC 25-year reserve and indicated out to about 100 years. So really what we're doing now, like I say, because we're fully permitted, we're ready to go. We're just simply doing additional bulk test work to firm up some of the materials, like I say, to do the commercial type production to get to the customers to show, hey, here's why this stuff is good, and then to enhance the economics of the property.
If my listeners are listening to this interview, why should they go out there and purchase your stock right now?
Right now our stock is fairly inexpensive relative to the value of the operation. And part of that is that it's because it's an industrial mineral, not LEM traded. I think it's difficult for people to go out and look and ascertain what that is. But we encourage people to go out and look at Emerys, which is IMERYS. That's a French company on the CAC in Paris. But they trade in all the same minerals, and they trade about 20 times earnings.
Wow.
Obviously, there's a difference in order of magnitude. They're a multi-billion euro per annum company. But we have the same minerals, and we pretty much have a captive market, world market for the hoistite, a captive market for the case bar in North America. The metakaolin, certainly in the Northwest. There is some out in Georgia, but it's really too far to transfer. And then we make a markedly superior quartz product in the I-5 corridor, and there's quite a few quartz producers. I mean, we think we're very well poised to realize what's in our 43101, in fact, to actually get more revenue from that. So this is a very high-margin operation, and it's going to pay out quite a large dividend.
My guest today is iMinerals, Inc. They trade on the OTCQB, ticker symbol IMAHF. With us today is the CEO of that company, Tom Conway. Tom, we're running out of time. In closing, is there anything that we didn't get a chance to touch upon that you would like to get out there to the listeners?
I just encourage the listeners to kind of look at all the products and things they use and do a little due diligence. So if you look at all the, let's say the new iPhone 10X that's out, that's all glass now. So we make quartz that goes into high value glass like that, and of course start researching diabetes, or look at case barred all the ceramics and stuff. I mean, people have ceramics everywhere and things in their home, and so these things are used in everyday life. And so you're never, in a position here that one market is going to go bad and you don't have other markets. This goes to a very wide variety of industrial uses, and never kind of goes out of fashion or style. You always need these things for modern life.
Absolutely. Well, I want to thank you for coming on the show. It's always a pleasure to hear from you. I wish you nothing but continued success. Hopefully you'll come back on the show here in about 50 days and give my listeners an update.
Well, thank you. I look forward to it.
This program is entirely sponsored and produced by Uptick Newswire, LLC, which is responsible for the content. The opinions and information provided on this program are those of the guests and those of the respective companies they represent, and do not necessarily reflect those of the staff or management of Uptick Newswire. Uptick Newswire encourages all listeners of this program to do their due diligence and research when determining investment strategies that will work for them, or to seek the assistance of an investment professional. The guests of this program may have paid for its distribution and are not directly affiliated with Uptick Newswire or this station.